Hello everyone and welcome back to Game Brigade. I am Brian Greer and today we are unboxing this monstrosity large Kickstarter Tsukuyumi Full Moon Down. Now I just received this not too long ago from Kickstarter. I went all in on this pledge. We are going to basically do a full unboxing and kind of talk about my thoughts about this game. The overall intention of this unboxing, there is kind of an underlining thought, is I'm very curious about the quality of the miniatures and the quality of the components. This game had arrived in the European market prior to the US market, and there were some differentiating opinions based on the quality of the game. And I do know that Gray Fox Games held this a little longer for US backers while they fixed some things. So I'm very curious as to how the contents look throughout the all-in pledge, and really excited to kind of bring it to the table. So let's go ahead and check this one out. Okay, so I think we're going to break open the core box and check it out. Remember, this is a 4K viewing experience, which means we got the 4K camera upstairs as well as the close-up camera. I try to make unboxing videos as good as they possibly can be so you guys can see all of the contents and get a good idea of what to expect if you were to get this game for yourself. Now, there was a part of me that thought about not keeping this game. I did think about keeping it sealed and just selling it because I was very upset with, one, how long it took, and two, the quality component issues. Now, you probably can't see, I mentioned this on my look back episode where we talked about what I did last month. I talked about how I got this game, and there's a massive indentation. I don't know if you guys can see that on the upper camera there, but it's unfortunate. The box is severely dented, which I know some people say it's just a box, shouldn't matter, but when you're buying these games, sometimes at the prices we pay, they're also kind of collector's items, and you want to maintain as good of condition as possible, right? So we're going to go ahead and position this. So let's go ahead and do the reveal. Okay. So kind of a cluttery look here. We got some baggies, some extra baggies for some reason. And we got the rule book, and we got some cards. Okay, so first off, they have reposing your miniatures. There's a possibility that your miniatures may have bent limbs or arms, and that's what that document is for. Put that to the side because it's not really integral to the game. So we got 2 packs of cards. Now, I don't know what packs are like fixes or what's part of the actual game. We also have, it looks like a faction just sitting out here. The Boarlords are just kind of sitting out. So move those guys over there. And then we have some extra stuff, some more baggies. The random baggies are interesting. I'm not quite sure about the random baggies. It just is a little different. Okay, so we have overview. So these are player aids. I know that they had issues with some spelling and rule problems. That was another thing they held it back for, is to fix some rulebook issues. So these are player boards. That gives us our actions, and they're dual-sided so that we can see the round overview, which I like. Also gives you the victory point breakdown. The idea of this game is it's a area control or hexagonal control war game where we are going to be competing for victory points or territories in an area. I think it's like the Pacific Ocean, where the moon has kind of fallen to Earth. So while the game is going to be based on these victory points for pretty much winning, it's going to be very much like a TI4 like experience in terms of a 4X like game. I don't know how much exploration and exploitation there is, but we'll see. I bought this at the time I was playing a lot of 4X games, so they only give us 2. I mean, we got a game that's, probably going to be playing 4-player regularly. I'd like to have 2 more of those. Okay, and then we got some player boards here. So we have the Cyber Samurai, the Dark Seed, the Boar Lords, and it should be the Nomads. So those are the 4 core box characters, or champion, or factions, I think is a more accurate term. So this was a separate add-in. So we'll see. I'm going to put these back together just because I don't know really where everything goes at this moment. And then we have a codex with comics. So what does that mean for them? Codex usually includes rule clarifications and teaches you about the faction. So there's definitely a comic book. And then we got the different factions here. So it kind of breaks down some of the things about those factions. Codexes are things I never read in video games when they're included. I love the fact that they have them because I think it's cool to have a deeper, richer world. But I just never spend the time to actually read it. And then the times where I'm like, okay, I'm actually going to read it this time. I'm going to read every quest. I'm going to read the codex. Maybe lasts like a day. And I don't do it anymore. Rulebook. First thing we want to do whenever we're looking at a rulebook, we flip it over. We want to see what kind of information they have to teach us the game at a quick glance. Looks like they have basically the player aids on the back. And in the back, looks like they have, this is where I usually want to see rule, like if there's terms in the game, like attack or devastate or something, so a key term. I like to have definitions about that in the back. But right now, it looks like they're breaking down the legendary Oni and the Oni cards. So it looks like it's just, to me, like a rule book. There's no breakdowns. And they have here like Land Emerge, Dragon Blood, like they have terms. I just like in the back to have searchable, so I know, go to page 27 if you want to know about Dragon Blood. Because if we're playing a game and we have a quick question, the last thing I want to do is look through the rule book for 3 or 4. To be honest, longer than a minute is too long. If we're looking for a key term, and I need to figure out what, like, when someone asks a question, like, can I do this specific question? Like, it's a good question. Let me look real quick. Any longer than a minute will stall the game and pull attention away. And you don't want that. So it looks pretty good, though. The rulebook, I mean, it's got a lot of words. It's going to be a very text-heavy rulebook. It's going to take some time to really break this down and learn it. But from what I gathered in terms of how the game plays, it's fairly simple. I mean, even TI4 is a fairly simple game, but people still have complications with it. So this could be very similar with that, with like a lot of intricate differences between the factions. I think that could possibly be the biggest issue. Okay, so player boards. Player boards are warped a little bit. Now, this game sat in shipping containers in China for a very long time, I believe, while we were waiting for a spot on a boat. We all know that there are issues with shipping, and Gray Fox had issues where they were getting bumped continuously off of their boat. And I believe this was supposed to go on in like December, and I think we finally got on a boat between February or March of 2021. And then, so whenever you have a game that's not in a secure, temperature-controlled environment for warehousing, you can have potentials of warping of the cardboard and whatnot. And so we do see a little bit of bow. I mean, you guys can see it's a little bit of a bowing. I'm not really putting any pressure on that in terms of forcing it that way. The biggest question would be like, are the tiles flat? Which this tile looks good. So I'm not obviously going to punch. Oh no. I'm not going to punch the tiles here in front of you guys. We're just kind of getting an idea of how things look and, you know, what to expect and consider as normal or whatnot. So I'm going to try. I was trying to put this back in. I'm just making it worse. Let's just put these to the side. Okay, so we got another one. Another board. This one looks a little better. I mean, they all have a little bit of a bend to them. But it's almost like it's forming because of the plastic down here almost. There's a lot of punch. A lot of punch. Double-sided punch. So that'll be fun to put away. Punch sometimes can, like, if there's a very good system with how you put the game away, I don't mind punch. But when there's like no clear path of how I'm going to put any of this stuff away in the box, then that's where punch gets super annoying. So we have all the faction boards. We got the moon boards. Everything's looking good. Okay, so that's all the punch. A little bit of warping in the cardboard in terms of the whole sheet. I don't see anything right now that indicates that the other pieces are warped. Here's a bigger piece. This is a 3 piece. Let's check her out. It looks relatively fine. So that's good. Good to hear. The last thing you want to do with like a war game where you're placing hexes out is like having pieces warping. That would be so crazy. Okay, so here we have all the faction minis. So that is where we are going to bring in the close-up camera for our shots in terms of the minis. So let's get the close-up camera prepped and check out some of these guys now. This guy has no features on his face. It's like he's wearing a cloth face. Pretty good detailing, to be honest with you. I'm really happy with the detailing overall on these minis. This guy's the same guy. No idea what the heck. Okay, this guy's got like his arms like wrapped. You can't see. He's got his arms like wrapped behind. I honestly wish with this close-up camera, the only thing I don't like about it is that I can't set it to manual focus. I just want it to manually focus so that I can set the focal point and then I don't have to like continually move it around. So the phone or the camera right now is like struggling to try to find what is it you're wanting me to focus on is what it's doing. And when you have these micro minis, it doesn't know what it's supposed to look at. Overall, these minis are very good quality. They got a good weight to them as well. Let's check out another one that has some like limbs hanging off of it. Pretty good. I like the flag here, the staff, this staff chain thing hanging down. Cool. Okay, so that's the purple faction. I mean, there's a lot of minis there. We're not going to go through every single mini. There's a lot of duplicate minis. So we're just trying to get an overview of what they look like. We then have the bugs and nomads. So let's pop these guys out. I do like the tray. The trays that these guys come in are very good. So the bugs look like they would be the most fragile faction. This, if my daughter got a hold of this, this would be broken in a second. It's just feels like it's so, the contact point down here is so minor. It's hard to know how sturdy these are. Got a little bit of giveaway there. Just be careful with them if you have this game. Just be careful. Be aware. Here's another bug. The minis are great. One of the things that bothered me about Twilight Imperium as a war game is that the ships were all the same. You didn't have any variety in your faction, because the ships are meant to be unisex in terms of you can have the green faction be humans or the bugs, the plants, or anything. They can be anyone's ships. But I like uniqueness and identity in my faction, so I like having unique stuff. And one game that really disappointed me with that was Stellaris. Stellaris is all about having different ships. and they went with the TI4 same ships, which really kind of stinks, especially when they had such a high funding reach. They had like $3 million. So this guy's like some sort of insect in the ground. I love the texturing. This would be fun to paint on him here with the texturing. I'm not going to paint them, most likely. I've seen people paint them. They look pretty sweet. Here's another bug. The bug faction's pretty cool, to be honest. I didn't think I was going to care for the bug faction. This looks like a tick. That looks like a tick to me. Right? And then we got some scorpions. I don't know how this guy goes back in. Let's try to get him right, like that. We have this, another big spider. We haven't shown this guy yet. Big old spider. Actually, it's not a spider. It's only got 6 legs. What do they call them if they only have 6 legs? I know that's a thing. And then scorpions. So far, I'm impressed with the minis. The minis are on point. No qualms here. Now, I heard that most of the mini issues were in the expansion sheets. The expansion, so we'll get to that. Oh, please don't break. And then we got some humans. These are the Nomads, humans. Kind of remind me of Oblivion. If you guys seen the movie Oblivion with Tom Cruise, that's what these guys remind me of with their masks and their cloaks. It's probably, they are kind of probably living the same existence as the humans in Oblivion. That's spoilers. I probably should not say anything if you haven't seen the movie. Very good movie, by the way. I'm a Tom Cruise fan. I probably just lost a bunch of subscribers, but I like Tom Cruise. I like his movies. Very excited for Top Gun 2 to come out. I just went to the movies with my wife for one of our date nights. We saw Black Widow, and Top Gun had a trailer, and I grew up loving Top Gun. In fact, it's one of my favorite movies. And so I'm very excited for Top Gun 2. So this guy, his gun is fine. I thought his gun was a little warped, but it's fine. So, to be honest, the minis look great. I think I'd be happy with all these minis. So the humans look good. We have one more down here, some sort of dog. I don't think this dog is going to protect anything. These kind of bulldogs, they're more lovers than anything. So we got a bulldog. Okay. We have 2 more factions. So the purple faction, I believe, is the what is? Okay, so I figured out. So the box indent. Oh, can I see this? You guys can see this here. The break in the box is all the way through. It actually punctured in, and that might be why I was seeing such a large lift in the on the punch, because the box is severely broken. I'm probably going to contact Ray Fox about that. I think I should get a new box. I was okay with maybe a little bit of a dent, but the box is actually broken. So here's the samurai. That guy's cool. Swords look great. Here's another figure on a small contact point that looks like something just ready to break. Good detail. Oh, come on. Good detailing. I love samurai. Japanese lore is so freaking cool. And then we've got these guys, the Boarman. They are actually just boars. Very good heft again. Good weight to these minis. Yeah, guys, overall. And then we got these little pigs. They're small. I can't even hold on to him. He's so small. I also got the playmat out. I don't know if you guys can see that. I got the playmat out. Like I said, I went all in on this, which included the playmat. Playmat's double-sided, which is nice, and it has like a light side and a dark side, I guess, depending on where you want to play. So overall rating for me in terms of the minis, great. Which means I am even more excited now for After the Empire, which is same company, which I backed on GameFound. Their late pledge is still available if you're interested. And that one was very mini heavy. And I think the minis are going to be very, like, these minis are kind of transferable in terms of what to expect in regards to that. So looking forward to that now. This was basically going to let me know, like, what to expect from this company going forward. So good on them for securing it. Let's rebox up this main game, and then let's go ahead and see what else we got. We got a lot of stuff to get through with this game. Man, the box is just not working. Okay, slide that over there. So they sent this along. It included this card deck. I'm not sure what is included in the card deck. Everyone's like, Brian, you're going to cut yourself. What are you doing with your knife? And then I reply, I went to 4-H. I have extremely good knife skills. Okay. Garbage over there. Okay, so what do we got here? Brother Anslem. He has a trait, so we have some characters here. Spider Queen. These cards are a little warped. Reminds me of buying Magic the Gathering cards. Actually, I can show you in the close-up camera. They're pretty got a good bend to them. That's something that's been happening with manufacturing of cards lately, just getting that warping in them. So these look like they have some, I actually don't know what these are, but they have goals, personal goals and whatnot. So I'm going to put them aside because I don't know specifically where they go to. And then we have this sheet. It's already punched for me, unfortunately. And it says corrections. So these are tiles that are probably going to need to be replacing tiles in the core game. So we're going to leave the tiles in there because we know they're corrections, and I want to make sure I keep the corrected tiles. I am curious, and I'll look later after the video's over, of what differences these tiles have over the tiles in the core box. We also have this sheet that came in here. So let's open this over here on the close-up camera and see what we have. So we got, this is just a card. So we have some cards, a merchant card, victory card, 2 players. Looks like they're just random. A modification card. Oni counterattacked on the last round card. Another victory card for 2 players that goes here. Another modification card. Skybound. This is a Skybound card. And then we have an Oni turn card, which is the neutral faction. When we have, what is this? A momentum track. Looks like it's also dealing with the Oni, I believe, potentially. I'm not sure. Okay, so it looks like it's just a bunch of individual cards that need replacements. So I need to make sure these are locked. And then we have, okay, so this is an expansion, Lords of the Lost Sea. So we got a bunch of fixes for those. And then the Dark Seed, the bugs that we just were looking at. So we need to, again, go back and check those. So I'm going to put these all back in the corrections so that I don't lose them, because it'd be super bad if I misplace this stuff. But that's what some of the corrections were. Now, I'm curious if that's all that there was, because I knew that they had to do an emergency print run in China, and then they flew the games instead of shipping them overseas. They flew them, which is an expense, you know. I just don't know what they flew, like what boxes need to be fixed. Let's open this nondescript white box. Let's see what this nondescript white box is. I saw on Board Game Geek that they had a really good cool sticker. Okay, what is this? What is this? I don't know. We have a tile, a random tile. We have some more. These look like they're colored in the Oni faction. What are these? So one of the complaints people had from Europe were the gray miniatures. So when we bought this on Kickstarter, every expansion was colored in the colors of the faction. And I guess some of the factions, so we got some like random stuff in here. We got guns, walls. Okay. I need to go back through the campaign and figure out what the heck this is. Just random stuff. Is there anything underneath this thing? Nope, that's empty space. And then we got the random tile. Okay. All right. Interesting. And because there's minis in here, that's probably going to mean that we have to keep that box. So these boxes are generally the like Kickstarter exclusive stuff. So this is called After the Moonfall Expansion. It's actually the first time in a production game you got a face up here, and then when you flip it around, it's upside down. Normally it's other way. Like normally they're correct with each other. So that's interesting. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. It's just I've been personally like making a goal to make sure all my games have matching ups within the front and back. Don't know why. It's just like a personal preference that I'm aiming for. To keep my brain on working on something else. Okay, so I like the colors on this box. Everything looks good. Okay, so we have another codex. Let's see if it's got comic books like the other one did. It does. Sweet. All right. So we have Children of the Lion. We have Comp Group 3. So that's probably the German faction. Two new factions. So we have Children of the Lion and the Comp Group. And then you've got scenarios, which is cool because the scenarios will tell you how to set up the board. And with how big the tiles here are, well, just how like sprawly that looks, it just looks like there's so much potential for stuff to happen. Okay, so these all look great. No warping here. Everything looks really good. So a bunch of punch. That looks like one of the punches in the correction sheet. So curious if that's it. I wonder if they're numbered. Are they numbered at all? They're not. You just have to look. You have to just find the correct one. Okay. Okay, interesting. Interesting thing. Oh, they did not put a plastic top on this? We got a bunch of baggies. The loose baggies, what am I supposed to do? Are those for the punch? What am I supposed to do with those? I'm assuming you're wanting me to put the punch in there, in the loose baggies. So we got the faction sheets. We know what those look like. Let's look at the minis. So we got some more purple factions here. These look like, again, the Oni faction. This is the same guy we've already looked at. These are the same guys we've already looked at. Every one has a plastic cover on it, except for this one. This one has a good insert because it's got at least the spacing here. Can you see that at all? It's a little dark. I'm not able to do it. I'm trying to get some more light. But it's got this hole here for the tiles. So we got this big elephant. That's got to be so heavy to have that many tusks. Could you imagine? It's big elephant. Whoop. And what do you got here? We got some hyenas. So these are the African faction. The hyena. And what do we got here? Please tell me I have at least a lion. This is a gentleman with a lion head. So he's killed a lion, and he's got a hyena for a pet. Here's a lion. Here we go. I like lions a lot. I think they're sweet. Okay, and then we got some more of these gray robots. I want to know what the robots go to, because we've had a few gray robots already. Gray robots are pretty sweet. Okay. Everything looks good. And then we've got, you know, the standard cards here. I don't think there's any reason to look at those. We're just looking to see if there's any mistakes or imperfections or anything that would cause us issues. So again, the minis impressed quite a bit. Unsure as to why this doesn't have a topper. Doesn't make sense. And that's why they put it in the center. They're trying to balance the punch on top of it. Like that. Like so. Forgot to put those away. Okay, where's the top? Let's seal this guy back up. We'll worry about the facing once we actually go through this and punch it all out. Okay, so now we have mini expansions to take a look at. So we've got Lords of the Lost Sea. Whoop. Rise of the Moon Princess. The Fireborn Expansion. Sorry. And Sentinels Expansion. So we're going to go through each of these individually. I believe one of these is like a cooperative or solo expansion. The Rise of the Moon Princess in this cooperative and solo expansion. So this is the solo expansion if you're looking for cooperative or solo play. So these are the ones that I was hearing did not match the color of the factions. So if these are gray, then we'll know that what was up. But there's a possibility that they could have fixed this. Now this box has some sort of wear on it, like a scuffing. Okay, so we got some punch here, a rule book for this solo experience, and we have some punches here. They almost look like they're standees, like these are standees. And then we have the overview, some cards for this. Yeah, and here we have standee stands, the standee stands, and some more baggies. And then there's one miniature. She's pretty sweet looking in her faction color. So that's good. And the contents of this, let's put this all back. Oh, I didn't put the standee back. This one says it includes 66 standard cards, 26 tarot cards, plastic feet for standees, 1 miniature, and 3 punch boards. So that is the solo cooperative expansion. This one is an actual faction. This is a herd of surviving humpback whales are in search of their lost ocean. Their journey will take them across the remains of the Pacific Ocean through the battles of the other factions. Mostly peaceful, they make their way and move the invaders into the realm of silence. So I'm not sure if this is a playable faction. This might be like a roaming neutral faction. And I know people in my my community, some of my Discord members, have painted some of these guys, which is pretty cool. I love it when people join the Discord and share off like some of their board game stuff. So we have a breakdown, the complexity. So complexity means it sounds like it is a playable faction. It is a medium weight faction. So we have some more Lord sheets again, some punch for them, their faction card, and the whales. So yeah, these were gray from what I saw, and they are now so perfect. Gray Fox, good job. I know you delayed the game 6 months or so. Look how that freaking looks. That is so cool with the little like things coming out of them, like the spears. Let's see if we check out another one. These minis are so hefty. Very impressed with the minis. Very excited. Okay, cool. So yeah, Gray Fox, it took a long time. Yeah, they took an extra like 6 months to get us the game once they actually arrived stateside. But if they're taking the time to fix the game, then I don't mind waiting. I'd rather, be honest, wait and get a complete game than get an incomplete game and then have to wait after that. Because we, as gamers, we have so many games to play at any time. So it's not like I'm like got nothing to do. I got stuff to do. I got stuff to work on. So it's not like I'm missing it. I'd like it in my collection sooner, but I'm okay waiting for a game to be completed fully. Okay, so this is the Fireborn expansion. This includes a rule sheet, a faction sheet, 7 cards, 7 miniatures, and 2 punch boards. So these kind of seem like they might be the yin and yang to the water guys. I bet these guys are more aggressive. The mighty dragons have only one goal: annihilation. The Fireborn's priority is not always conquering territories. They primarily seek to devastate areas so that no one can receive any victory points from them. So these guys are trying to destroy the board. Yeah, all these boxes have scuffing on them. It's almost like you can actually feel it's actually got a texture to it. Just scuffing. It has scuffing as if someone was kicking them along like the floor. That's what it kind of feels like. Okay, so they are yellow boards. We have Fireborn Punch. That all looks good. And we have the minis. This one feels like it would fall over. It doesn't. Sweet. So we got a bunch of different dragon minis. And they have openings in their bases where you can probably put something. Something probably slides in to that. How did this guy go in here? Come on, Brian. So I'll show you right here. See the opening? So something will slide in there. Cool. We have one more expansion to open. And I think we're done. I think we're successfully, I think that came out of here. give you guys my final takeaways once we open this up. So this is the Sentinels expansion. Whenever you're doing a video that's like this long, it's like you have to constantly like, okay, is that camera recording? That camera's recording. This camera recording. Gotta constantly be checking everything. Okay, so these are some Panda Bears. We have a rule sheet, a faction sheet, 5 cards, 6 miniatures, and 2 more punch boards. And these are the Jade Sentinels, the Panda Bears. The Panda Bears. Let's see some pandas. And they're jade. These are definitely jaded colors. Riding a tiger. A panda holding a gun, riding a tiger. You know, what more could you want? And he's got like bandolier around him. God, this camera, focus please. Focus on that. It's got great touch focus. I just don't like touching the camera because it bobbles. Yeah, there you go. Here's another one. Now the focus is like perfect. I should have just touched it earlier. Pandas are cool. And we have some standees here as well for something. So we got some baggies, standees. We got the faction sheets. Faction sheet looks good. Art looks good. Coloring. Yeah, okay. And punch looks good. I'm impressed. So, what are my final thoughts before I wrap this up and say goodbye? I was very nervous about opening this up. I'll tell you that right now. The overall shipment quality in terms of getting things, not as good as I'd like. The playmat, when it came, it was folded in the box. Luckily, not a single crease, so that's good. But if this had been creased, that would have been really sucky. That's why you don't roll playmat, or you don't fold playmats. The scuffs on the boxes, and it's almost on all of them, are just like, it's like someone was rubbing it on the floor. Is a little upsetting. As long as they're not noticeable, like from 5 feet away, but like some of them are noticeable and actually have a tactile feel. And then the core box being busted in the back is really sucky. I don't think that's an acceptable thing to have in a game of this price point. $250 I think was the all-in cost. Also, I did get a art book with this, and I've been going back and forth in terms of art books. If I like art books or if I don't like art books, I like them, but it becomes like something you go through once and then just sits there. But like some of these arts were super cool, so I wanted to keep it. You know what they call the Nomads? I think that was the USS Nomad. Yeah, the aircraft carrier where they call their home is the Nomad. I mean, the world that they built here is pretty sweet, so I'm excited to see more of everything. The gray robots will be easily to paint. Those are the only things that were gray, and so I don't know where they belong without diving further into the rule book. But yeah, got the rule book, or got the art book, got all the expansions. We'll hopefully get this game. I'm hoping maybe this Friday we might be able to play this game, depending on how the player group wants to do. I'm going to sleeve this all up, get everything sleeved and punched, and get it ready for gameplay. So thank you guys for checking out the show. If you guys have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below. If you really want to support the channel, I know it's really late in the video, probably about 10% of you are still watching, but leave a like, leave a subscription. Anything helps to push us in the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate you guys for staying here and helping me grow this YouTube channel on our quest to 5K and then hopefully 10K by the end of the year. It's probably a little ambitious. We'll probably get closer to 7 to 8. But again, I appreciate everyone for supporting the channel. I will talk to you all very soon.